Hey everyone, it's Brian. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. I appreciate your flexibility in my absence, and I wish you all the best during your mock proposal defenses as well. So as you know, I am analyzing the effects of political climate on student success in community college. And as we also know, the political climate today is unprecedented in terms of how controversial it's become, how divisive it's become, issues like sexual assault, issues in education, Title IX, LGBTQ plus civil rights issues, the entire gamut. And the purpose of this study is to look at how does this unprecedented political environment affect things like students' sense of belonging and their success and retention in college. And the research questions, therefore, are twofold. The first being, how do political conversations in community college classrooms moderate the relationship between students' exposure to political news messages and perceived sense of belonging? The second being, how does perceived sense of belonging mediate the relationship between students' access to political news and their success and retention in community college? So I know that's very wordy, but hopefully the following literature can help explain how I'm coming together with those research questions. So students are actually accessing and being exposed to political discourse more than we think. So they desire access to political news in an easy way. They do feel it's important to know what's going on around them, according to Huang in 2009. And in an easy way means that they're using what is most accessible, and that's just social media. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube videos, it is just at their fingertips. It's highly pervasive. We also know that there are strong positive correlations between actual civics discussions and in the classroom and their actual political knowledge and engagement. However, we also find that there are not a lot of teachers that are actually deliberating pressing political issues. So although these issues are very important, some instructors don't touch them. When it comes to sense of belonging, Strayhorn in 2018 found that belonging differs based on students' social identities like race, gender, sexual orientation, or the conditions they encounter on campus. And furthermore, it can affect a student's degree of academic adjustment, achievement, aspirations, or even whether a student stays in school. So this is actually very closely in line with Tinto's original definition and description of student success and retention. So I'm tying these together, showing that a sense of belonging does affect student success and retention. The theories that I'm using to guide my research are also twofold. The first being cultivation theory by Gerber and Gross. In 1976, they initially posited that television cultivates or shapes viewers' perceptions of social reality. In particular, actually, of note was that they found the more news you watched, the scarier you perceived the world to be. And that was primarily because television was the primary mode of communication of political news at the time. So I'm using this in today's context because arguably with social media being the new pervasive approach to accessing political news, that it can also cultivate or shape your perception of the social reality, or in this case, students' perception of their social reality. And because it does affect their perceptions of a social reality, it can also affect their perceptions of whether or not they belong or fit in college. So I'm adapting the person environment fit model, originally intended for workplace environment fit. In this case, Bracken and Bresciani-Ludwig, two of our wonderful instructors, have adapted that in their research to fit the college environment. So student success may be predicated on the perceived fit between students' personalities and the academic environment. So visually, we see here that students access and consume political news messages primarily through social media. And because it affects their perceptions of the world, it can also affect their sense of belonging in college. That relationship, however, can be moderated by whether or not they are exposed to political discussions in the classroom. And sense of belonging serves as a mediator between their access to that political news and their student success and retention. All of this guided by cultivation theory and the person environment fit model. So my methodology is going to be using a positivistic approach that's deductive, mono-quantitative. It's a cross-sectional survey that will lead to data collection. The participants will be students who compete on their community college speech and debate team. Go figure, right? But the reason why these participants were chosen is that it ensures that there is some degree of political discussion in the classroom because they're on a debate team. But not everyone is a debater. So we're able to capture more of a broader scope of students who might have those exposures to political discussion. Sampling will be done via the snowball method through social media, and that's because a lot of these competitors are friends with each other on things like Facebook and Twitter, so it's very easy for them to just pass along the survey to their friends who are also on speech and debate teams. The data collection, again, it's a cross-sectional online survey constructed using Qualtrics, and the survey itself is comprised of 37 questions, the first being some standard demographic questions including their political party affiliation, the ratio variable of the number of hours they access political news each week, a Likert scale of how often they're exposed to political discussions in the classroom, the sense of belonging scale, as well as self-reported data like their GPA, credits attempted, credits completed, and likelihood of returning to college in the next semester or next 2 semesters for success and retention. Analysis strategies, I'm going to be learning to use structural equation modeling, thanks to Wendy, who's basically saying that this method is used for testing for mediating and moderating effects. Again, sense of belonging and political discussions in the classroom being my mediating and moderating variables. I'm also going to run potential Pearson correlations between news consumption and sense of belonging, and news consumption and success and retention, as well as an A factorial ANOVA to look at race, sex, political affiliation, and sense of belonging. So lots I could do using the demographic questions and the sense of belonging measures. That's it. So if you have any questions or want to provide with any feedback, this is a link to a Google document I've set up. I appreciate any of your feedback. And again, I appreciate you. I love you all. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.